Alright guys, what's up? Today I'm here and I'm going to talk about Tomb of Sargeras from a Warlock perspective. I'm going to go through the fights, kind of a real quick run through, just the basic things that they do, and then I'm going to talk about what spec I think is going to be the best in them and why. This is just my opinion. I did not do mythic testing, and I did minimal, normal, and heroic testing. I tested Goroth, Harjatan, Maiden, and Avatar. I did not test Demonic Inquisition, Sisters, Mistress, or the Desolate Host. Unfortunately, as of the recording of this video, Kil'jaeden has not been tested. He's being tested later the day this video is being recorded, but unfortunately I am not going to be here to record a video for like a week. So I'll maybe like come back afterwards and do a Kil'jaeden preview from what I've seen. To start off, Tomb of Sargeras Normal and Heroic is going to open June 20th, with Mythic and the first wing of LFR opening the following week on the 27th. Then every wing of LFR will be released 2 weeks after that. 725 still does not have a release date. However, going on the history of the expansion so far, I can say with fair certainty that it will be on the 13th. 7.1 came out either a week or two before Tomb, or Trial of Valor rather, and then 7.15 came out a couple weeks before Nighthold released. So going off of that historical data in this expansion, the patch will be released a minimum of a week before Tomb. I think that without question, this is going to be a very good raid for all three specs. I think all three specs are going to have fights that they excel on and fights that they fall behind on. So I'm going to start with the first boss of the raid, Goroth. Goroth, I would say, is a medium movement fight. He's a fairly simple and straightforward fight, nothing too crazy about it. I say this is a demonology or destruction fight just because it's pure single target, and affliction, it will do good on single target fights, but not as good as demonology or destruction will. So I think this is a demonology or destruction fight all the way. If I had to lean towards one or another, I would say demonology. That is probably what I will play on this fight. But yeah, this is a fairly simple fight, medium movement, no adds or anything to get any kind of stacks on or cleave onto. So demonology or destruction all the way. Now that is not to say at all that affliction cannot perform well on this boss. It obviously can. It can perform very well on this boss. I just don't think it will perform as well as demonology or destruction. Demonic Inquisition is a very interesting fight. This is actually one of the ones I was angry that I missed. It is primarily a two-target cleave fight, with not a whole lot of movement, a decent amount of movement, but not very much. But you start with these two guys. These are the guys you're primarily going to be cleaving onto. Then you're going to like build up this Xavius type mechanic of insanity, and once you reach full insanity, you're going to do I believe like 99% less damage to the boss or something like that. Then you go inside this little room using your extra action button, and you cleanse your whatever it is called. I believe it's Torment. But you cleanse that, then you come back out and you start attacking the boss again. I believe there is an ad in there that has a decent amount of health, a big ad. So I don't know if like absolute corruption you'll be able to tag put corruption on the thing in there and then come back out and continue to do damage to him in there. If so, I mean, with your 2 set, that's going to be free soul shards. Just yeah, it's going to be free soul shards, which I very much like, and every warlock should. But I think this is going to be an affliction or a destruction fight. I don't think demonology is going to do very well in this fight. There are also ads that spawn, so I definitely think that this is probably going to be an affliction fight based on that. This could definitely be a destruction fight, but I think personally I'm going to be playing affliction on this fight, just because I think Wrath and reaping the shards you can get from the ads, and you're going to be able to run Writhe on 2 and keep Agony on 2 things at once. And I think that's going to be extremely powerful, especially if you have like the bracers. So yeah, I'm probably going to be playing Affliction on this boss, and I think Affliction will be the best spec for this boss. Harjatan is a primarily single target fight with ads that spawn not constantly but consistently throughout the fight, with this one big ad that is, from my testing and from the videos that I have seen, just put off in the corner, just like the dragon on Mythic Sargeras. This is a very Sargeras type encounter. The entire time I was doing this encounter, I was thinking to myself, this is pretty similar to Sargeras, but for those of you who don't know, he spawns these Murlocs that slowly march towards Harjatan all triumphantly and valiantly. It's very cool to see. March of the Murlocs, it's awesome. But I think this is going to be an Affliction or Demonology fight all the way. I do not believe that there is any sort of penalty for doing damage to him, such as there was the dragons in Sargeras. Once they reached a certain health percentage, they would start pulsing, and at that point you had to kill them, otherwise it would be a raid wipe. So there's going to be something to keep your corruption and agony on consistently, plus these ads that you can get Wrath, Reap, and shards from, plus just extra damage from running like absolute corruption or something like that. So I believe that this is going to be a affliction dominated fight. As you can see, 2 back-to-back tier bosses with a very good shadow relic. But I think this is going to be a very good fight for Affliction or Demonology. I don't see Destruction being too good on this boss unless maybe you get the ads very close to the boss and let them run Fire and Brimstone or something such as that. But I see Demonology or Affliction coming out ahead on this boss. Sisters of the Moon is an extremely interesting boss. It's basically like dragons, but on pure single target type platform. You know how with dragons they tag team throughout the fight. A dragon came in, a dragon came out. That's how this fight is, except there are 3 of them and you only fight 1 at a time. So it is a single target fight. With that being said, I think this is going to be a Demonology or a Destruction fight, just because it is mostly single target. Now I believe this ad spawns periodically throughout. I cannot confirm or deny this. As I said, I did not test this boss, and the videos that I have seen were not extremely clear when this ad spawned. When this, the only thing I could tell is that this ad did have a fairly significant amount of health and took a little bit of time to kill. So that could possibly bring Destruction ahead of Demonology on this boss, and that could possibly make Affliction very good on this boss. But I believe this is probably a Destruction fight followed by Demonology, with Affliction being the worst on this fight. Mistress Sassz'ine is very kind of Elrith-like, where she spawns she spawns like 3 of, where are they? Abyss Stalkers at a time that put a tank debuff on them, just like the spiders did on Elrith. I believe this is going to be an Affliction fight, because these ads do not live very long from what I have seen in videos and from what friends have told me. Definitely not long enough for Demonology to get significant gains off of them, and not really long enough for Destruction to benefit greatly from Fire and Brimstone or anything such as that. That being said, I without question think this is an Affliction fight running maybe like Absolute Corruption or something like that, with the nerf to Contagion to only 15%. I think we're going to be seeing Absolute Corruption run a lot more, especially on fights with ads, and with considering what our 2-piece is, I think we're going to be seeing Absolute Corruption run much more frequently with the ring. The ring is very good paired with Absolute Corruption. So yeah, I think this is an Affliction fight, but I think all 3 specs could do very well on this fight. Demonology could very easily say, forget it, I'm just going to tunnel the boss, like they do already, and just do crazy boss damage and let everyone else worry about the ads. So I think this is going to be a very good fight for all 3 specs, with Affliction pulling ahead though. Next up, the Desolate Host. I'm really looking forward to this fight. It looks very, very fun. It's kind of Il'gynoth and Gorefiend-ish, kind of. But there is this lady on the outside that people, like not in a zone, will attack, and there are ads that spawn pretty regularly. And they seem to live for a pretty long time. So with that in mind, I think Affliction with maybe like Absolute Corruption and Writhe could do very well on this boss. But then at some point you click on this little brazier type thing. You and a group of players click on one each, and you go into this zone where you attack the Engine of Souls, this cool looking thing here. And then you do damage to him for a little bit, and then I believe you come back out and continue to kill ads as well as her. Then at 30% of this thing, I believe these 2 share a health pool. I believe. I'm not going to say that with any amount of certainty, but I believe that they do. But then at 30%, when this thing is at 30%, this green Lord Marigar type looking guy comes out. I believe you burn him from 30% down. I don't believe there are any ads in this phase, the burn phase. I believe we could see Death's Embrace do exceptionally well on this boss, considering that it seems as if there is going to be a burn phase. Let us see here. Yeah, it looks like you burn this guy from 30% down. It seems that way. I did not test this boss. So Death's Embrace could do very well here, but considering that the ads seem to live a very long time, and there are a good many of them, I believe we could see Affliction do very well on this boss. I believe Destruction could also do very well on this boss. I don't think Demonology would do very good on this boss. I just honestly don't really see Demonology really having a place on this boss. As we all know, Demonology was not good on Il'gynoth, and this is a kind of Il'gynoth type fight. So I think Demonology won't do very well in this fight. It also has a pretty good amount of movement from the videos that I have seen. So that also helps Affliction's case on this boss. Then we have Maiden of Vigilance. She is just like Goroth, a pure single target fight with a pretty good amount of movement. But there are also periods of time where you are not attacking the boss, such as when you are gathering the orbs that increase your damage, or when you jump into the hole and explode so you don't wipe the raid. I think all three specs could do well on this boss, including Affliction, even though it is a single target fight. Affliction single target is still good. Obviously, not as strong as it is. It's not as good as Destruction or Demonology. But that being said, considering you're spending a decent amount of time away from the boss, I think that Affliction running maybe like Writhe or something could do very well on this boss. And then Death's Embrace also, considering you get orbs on this boss, you could get a huge execute phase going with Death's Embrace and those orbs and Soul Harvest and your second pot and your racial and everything like that. You could get a absolutely huge execute going and fly past everyone else on the damage meter. So I think Affliction could do exceptionally well at this boss. Fallen Avatar. Fallen Avatar is a boss all three specs I think could do very well at. The first phase is kind of a either two target cleave or a switch target type thing going on. You start off doing damage to Kil'jaeden, but not Kil'jaeden, Fallen Avatar, but there is this Maiden of Valor also. And once this Maiden of Valor reaches 100 energy, she gains a shield and starts a cast, just as the Maiden in Karazhan does, and if she finishes the cast, it wipes your raid. That being said, if your guild does not do good, like switch target or two target cleave damage, Dia Destruction will be very, very good on this boss. If your guild does good at both and just needs you to do consistent damage to both, then I think Affliction could do very well. If your guild does extremely good single target or switch target / two target cleave damage, then probably Demonology. And then you also consider phase 2, that is probably medium movement with its pure single target. I think Demonology could do very, very well on this boss. I also think Destruction and Affliction could do well on this boss. That being said, I cannot say with any definitive reasoning what spec I'm going to play on this boss, because I have yet to see how fast my guild gets down the shield, but I will probably play Affliction on this boss. Because I don't believe that you gain any or lose anything or put your guild in any type of threat by keeping your dots on the Maiden, so Affliction can kind of pad and gain more shards. As of the time I'm filming this, or recording this rather, Kil'jaeden has not been tested. It's being tested today. But I have to leave to take care of personal things today, so I cannot test him with my friends, which I was going to, and I'm not really going to talk about him all that much, and everything that I say needs to be taken with a very large amount of salt, because I am just talking after reading this right here and reading through some of his abilities. But it seems as if there's going to be a decent amount of adds on this boss, as well as a pretty high movement fight. So that plays very well into Affliction. Depending on how long these adds live, and how many of them there are, Affliction could absolutely destroy this fight. And considering, personally, it seems like this is a pretty high movement fight, which also helps Affliction's case. I'm very interested to see this boss. I might make a video just talking about this boss when I get back. I'll be gone for roughly a week, so it will be a while before I get back and can make a video about Kil'jaeden and such, but I'm very interested to see this fight, and but just from reading it and looking through the abilities and things such as that, I think Affliction is going to more or less absolutely destroy this fight. I don't think Demonology will do very well in this fight. I think Destruction will do good on this fight, but not nearly as good as Affliction. So overall, let's just go back through Destruction, or Demonology rather. Destruction, Affliction, most likely Affliction, Destruction or Demonology. Then we have Affliction or Demonology, most likely Affliction. All three specs have the chance to excel on this boss. All three specs, most likely Affliction with a huge grain of salt, because testing has not been done when I am releasing this video, or when I am recording this video. So it seems as if, from my perspective, in my opinion, Affliction will have the most good fights on this tier. Now this could obviously change once we get in and see the fights and they're live, and we see how Affliction performs in the fights and the flow of Affliction and the other two specs in this fight, in these fights rather. But I'm very interested to see how Affliction does. I'm very, very interested to see how Destruction and Demonology perform. I think all three specs are perfectly viable for not only progression but farm in this content. So, as cliche as it sounds, and as many times as you've heard it, I think you can honestly play whatever you want, whatever you like. If you're an Affliction main, I believe you can, without question, play Affliction on every single boss. If you're a Demonology main and that's what you like and want to play, I think you can without question play Demonology on every boss. On some of these bosses, would it be kind of annoying to play Demonology? Probably, but you know, it has been in every raid. There's been every raid so far where, like, if you're a Demonology main, it's annoying to play Demonology. And then Destruction, if you want to play Destruction, that's the spec you like and prefer, then you can, you know, more than justify playing Destruction on every single boss. I honestly think that you can just play whatever you want, whatever you're currently maining. I think every single one of the specs is going to be very good in Tomb. If I had to completely restart and I had to say definitively what spec I would play, I would say I would play Destruction. Like, if I had to say, give me a brand new character with all the legendaries for one spec, I would say give me Destruction, just based on Destruction is already an exceptionally good progression spec, and it is getting better. That being said, I'm probably actually going to play Affliction, because I do have Sindorai on live I do not have Lessons or Feratory, though. If I had Lessons of Space-Time, I would probably play Destruction, but I don't, and the only Affliction Legendary I'm missing is the Bracers. And the only Demonology one I'm missing is Kha'Zix. So I'm probably going to play Affliction on every boss that I can, on progression and farm and everything like that. But I think I'm going to be playing Affliction most likely. I think that's going to be a very played spec in Tomb. I think a lot of people are very scared Affliction's going to be bad, but it's not. It's going to be very good. There's going to be a lot of bosses where it can, where mechanics happen, such as Harjatan and Mistress and things such as that, where there are ads they can consistently get Wrath and Reap Sacks off of, and even though Wrath was basically cut in half, it is still very powerful. I mean, it's 10% increased damage, you know. It's still very, very strong. I'm not going to really talk about legendaries or anything like that, or running 2-piece Night Tomb, 4-piece Nighthold. I'm not going to talk about that really at all. I'm going to wait until more information comes out and we see it on live as to what happens, but personally I believe early on we're going to be playing 4-piece Nighthold, 2-piece Tomb, and then as we get further into farm, we're going to be playing 4-piece Tomb, 2-piece, or 4-piece Tomb, and no Nighthold set. That is just my own personal opinion, though. But I hope you guys are looking forward to Tomb and 725 as much as I am. These bosses look absolutely amazing. Blizzard has continued to get better with raids this expansion. We started off with Emerald Nightmare being kind of lackluster, and Xavius being kind of a laughing stock. Then we got into Trial of Valor, where it was much more difficult. It was very, very fun and challenging and difficult content. Then we got into Nighthold, where it was even more difficult than Trial of Valor. It was very fun. The bosses were very well designed. I think Blizzard is going to continue that streak, and Tomb is going to be even better. They've also gotten better with the final bosses. Xavius, as I said, was a joke. Helya definitely was not a joke. Helya was a very well-designed boss, a very fun boss, a very difficult boss. Then Gul'dan was also a fun and difficult boss. And then I believe Kil'jaeden is going to be one of the coolest bosses ever. I mean, Kil'jaeden has been an essential character in WoW for a long time, and I think he is going to be one of the coolest bosses in the game. I am really, really looking forward to being able to see some videos of testing on Kil'jaeden and see how he works. They're doing heroic testing on the 1st or 2nd, so that will be very interesting. I'm very, very excited for 725 and Tomb. I hope you guys are as well. Let me know in the comments what you guys are most excited for, what you guys are looking forward to, and what you guys aren't looking forward to. You know, which boss is your favorite and you're looking forward to them. You know, etc. If you have any questions or have a different opinion on something, put that down in the comments. But just to end the video, I think Affliction will have the most fights they excel on, but Demonology and Destruction will also be exceptional on many of these fights. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'm going to put kill videos up as soon as possible. My guild will probably pretty easily clear through normal in one night. Then we'll probably spend the rest of the week in heroic and kill heroic Kil'jaeden on like Thursday or something, or on what's typically our farm day, Saturday. or our optional farm content, which is Saturday. So I'll have kill videos up for you guys as fast as possible. And then I'm thinking about doing like a personal like Warlock guide and the things that I found helpful for me and my guild, things that I could do as a Warlock that helped my guild on a boss or helped me on a boss. I'm thinking about doing that, but I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you guys enjoy Tomb and 725 and Warlocks in general, and thank you for watching. I'll see you guys in Tomb.